Okay. Hi, Miss Salma. I am Alondra Toledo. I am a counseling student at Texas A&M University. And today we are going to be doing a couple assessments just to see where you are currently. And from there, we're going to be able to find like a deeper understanding of what's going on and be able to connect that information into our current sessions. And so I just want to know a little bit about yourself. Do you like going by Sama? Do you have a nickname? What do you prefer to be called?
I don't really have a nickname. My name's always been hard to pronounce for some people, so I just go by Salma. But a lot of people just call me Salma because they can't really say my name.
Okay, perfect. And so I'm just going to give you just kind of a little bit of information before we start the session. I know that you are a volunteer currently, and I really appreciate you taking the time and coming in and doing these assessments with me. I know that you did sign the consent forms to take the assessments as well as to be recorded.
Yes.
This recording is only going to be for me and my professor. And after this video is taken and seen by both of us, it will be deleted from any drives that it is on. This video also is just going to be recording myself. You are not going to be in the picture, nor is your name going to be on the video as well.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, well, I really appreciate the time. And so as we go on during these sessions, I'm just going to give you some of the limitations that I would have to report if they are brought up within the session. And so if I recognize that there is suicidal identification, I will have to report that, just because we want to make sure that you are safe and that we are able to provide the help that you need. Also, if there is indication of a child harm or self-harming, that would also have to be reported as well, just because you are the priority and your safety comes first, and we want to be able to make sure that you are provided with the right resources.
Yes, of course, I understand.
Awesome. Okay, so we're going to begin our session with just a baseline assessment. It's just it's called an intake assessment, which means I'm just going to get a little bit more information about you, and I want to hear just about you, what brings you into counseling, and just see, just basically get to know more about you. And within this session, I'm going to allow you to do most of the talking, and I'm going to be taking some notes here and there. So if you see me writing, I'm just taking some notes.
Okay.
Alrighty, so we're going to start. So the first question that I do want to ask is just what brings you into counseling, and if there's anything like primary concerns that you want to share, feel free to share them.
Okay, so the reason why I wanted to come to counseling is because recently I just figured out a life-changing moment that I'm going to be having in the next couple months. So I just found out I'm currently pregnant with my first baby, with my long-term boyfriend. So it was very a big shock for both of us, because I mean, we're not expecting to be parents this soon. Also, I just recently graduated from grad school, so I was in the process of studying to take my state licensing exam. So that was my main priority. And then right now, finding out this information of me becoming a mom, I'm also struggling how to manage coping skills for it, just because I don't know how to like manage like the stress and the anxiety I have, because I'm excited but I'm also terrified, and then also having to study and like try to pass my licensing exam. It's just all like so much right now, so I just don't know how to express my feelings and like my emotions about this whole like life-changing this moment that I'm going through. So that's mainly my main reason why I came to counseling. That way I can just get a better understanding of how I can like process this entire experience that I'm going through right now.
Yeah, well, I really appreciate you sharing that with me. And so what I'm understanding is that you just graduated from a graduate program, correct?
Yes.
And then, well, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And a new pregnancy. If you don't mind me asking, how far along are you?
I am about 17 weeks.
Okay.
So it's almost halfway through the point of my pregnancy, but yeah, that's fine.
And then also with your emotions, you're having a difficult time processing the pregnancy. Is that correct?
Yes and no. So I'm just struggling at like how am I going to be a first-time mom, and then 2, like I'm so young, and then 3, also since I currently live in like a different city than the rest of my family, the rest of both mine and my boyfriend's family, so it's just a feeling of like we feel like we're alone, but at the same time we know that we're capable of doing this. It's just a scary feeling overall.
Yeah, I completely understand. That is definitely a life-changing experience, and so I really appreciate you sharing that with me and trusting me with that information. So I'm gonna ask you just some more baseline questions. With your family and friends, you said, I noticed that you said that you don't have any family in this city, correct?
Yes.
Are you from San Antonio?
No, so originally I'm from Brownsville, which is in the valley, which is 4 hours away. So I moved to San Antonio about almost 6 years ago for undergrad, and so I just basically started living here, and I never moved back.
How long have you been living in San Antonio?
Going on 6 years. So all my family is like back home. Like I don't have anyone here.
And your boyfriend, does he live in San Antonio with you, or is he back home?
So right now we don't live with each other, which is also another stressor to like this entire experience. He doesn't move to San Antonio until like the end of July. So like I guess another month or so. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Thank you for sharing that with me. And so that is a lot of change, definitely, because it's also your boyfriend as well. It's a new living situation with a child, a boyfriend, and then also handling what you're gonna do at school, correct?
Yes.
Alrighty, and what have you done to kind of help yourself with kind of releasing those emotions and that stress?
So I try not to like think of the worst. I mean, we're all human. We kind of all think about the worst thing that could possibly happen. But what's helping me a lot is that I've just been keeping myself busy with work. Because I still work throughout the summers. So I guess that's like helping me get my mind off of like, oh, like the baby's coming, or like, hey, like my boyfriend's barely gonna come move with me, and stuff like that. And like finding like a place that we're both comfortable with and having like our child in with. So like I said, all I've been doing is really drowning myself in work, and I know that's not like a healthy situation for me to do. So that's why I was thinking like talking to a counselor, and I'm glad I found you. That way you can help me figure out ways that we can help with my coping skills.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, that is what we're here for, to help you and to help guide you with any concerns that you may have. And I really applaud you for coming in and taking that step. And I hear that you're saying that work is your outlet. How would you say your work environment is? Like, how do you feel when you're at work? And since you use that as your outlet, do you feel like it's relieving that stress? Do you feel like it's adding more stress? How do you see your work environment?
So right now I'm currently a school social worker, and I work a lot with children. So I don't see my job as stressful, just because I love what I do and I'm there to help kids and like understand what they're going through. So the age range that I work with are from like pre-K age is like 3 or 4 year olds all the way to like 5th graders, which is like 10, 11 year olds. So a lot of their the stuff that they talk to me about is not really not a lot of it is like a big thing. Like a lot of it's just like, oh, like Miss, I'm going to like middle school, or I'm going to a different school and stuff like that. So I'm able to provide them like a safe space and like have fun with them. So I don't necessarily think my job is stressful. I enjoy what I do, and so I just feel like I get very like into like my job, and like it helps me forget about what I'm going through like in my personal life.
Yeah, well, I really see that that is a positive in your life, and that you enjoy going to work, and that you're able to have that time to kind of not focus on what is stressing you out at the time. So that is great. And would you say you do anything really for you? Like, what does your self-care look like?
I would say that I don't really have like a self-care, especially now that like I said, I'm going through this life-changing moment. I don't necessarily really do anything for myself. I am one to like to bottle things up for when it's about me. I don't like to talk much about my feelings. Like I just like to be alone. So that's where I'm also like stuck with. Like I don't really have like something that's like for me to help me feel better.
Okay. I definitely understand, and we are definitely going to try to work on self-care skills and like what we can do to help you get that help that you need, and just be able to prevent that isolation from continuing, and being able to have that time for the self-care, because also we know that you are going to be a first-time mom as well, and also worrying about your self-care should be a priority as well. So we'll definitely work on that. And have you ever received any past counseling, or is this your first time?
This is my first time. I've never really seeked out any like counseling. Like I had mentioned before, like I don't like to talk about much of my feelings. Like I like to keep everything like, to myself, and I like to figure things out for myself.
Yeah, okay. Well, like I said, like it's awesome that you took that step and that you did seek help, because that's what we're here for. Have you ever been diagnosed with anything or taken any medication recently?
No.
What about like from your family? Has your family ever had like alcohol abuse or substance abuse?
Yes.
Yes.
My father, he is or was an alcoholic before he got diagnosed with cancer.
Well, thank you for sharing that with me. What about with ADHD?
I don't think anybody in my family has been diagnosed with ADHD. I mean, I come from a Hispanic family, so I feel like even getting any kind of form of help was just not something that was a priority.
Yeah, I definitely hear you on that. Sometimes counseling can have a stigma on that when it comes to different cultures. So I definitely hear you. But you came in today, so that is you taking that step and just doing this for you. And so understanding that your family does have like those limitations, and that you did take that step, that is something to definitely be proud of. So we appreciate you coming in for that.
Thank you.
What about bipolar depression? Has anyone in your family been diagnosed with that?
I don't believe so.
What about anxiety or obesity?
I feel like anxiety does play a big part in like myself and like my siblings and my mom, but we've never actually gotten diagnosed with anxiety.
Okay, and when you say that you sometimes like feel that, how does that look like? Like when do you experience that?
So I feel a lot of like anxiety or like anxiousness when I have to do things or get things done right away, or like this experience that I'm going through, like I've been like questioning a lot of what I do. I always think about the worst instead of thinking about the best and like the outcomes. So that's always been something I've struggled with, like always trying to figure things out on my own, and then I kind of stress myself out, and because I like to be independent, but I also don't like to be asking for help, and everyone's like, oh, I should ask for help, but it's just a lot on my like plate that I just like to just keep to myself, and then I just end up having like panic attacks and stuff like that.
And when you have those panic attacks, what do you see kind of helps you? What?
Usually I just try to like think of like take deep breaths, and like I like to put myself in like my safe space, which is like my room, and I like to just kind of like debrief of like, okay, like everything's gonna be okay, like this is like I'm in a safe place where I am at right now. So I try to like calm myself down with just like talking to myself and like taking deep breaths.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that. And so you kind of do like a little bit of you have self-awareness about your emotion. Okay. What about abuse, emotionally, physically, sexually? Has there been any experiences of that?
No.
And then substance abuse. I know that I did ask that, and you said that it was only your father, correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And what about your siblings? How is your relationship with your siblings? As well as, are you the oldest? Are you the youngest?
So I have an older sister, and then I have a younger brother. I would say our relationships are pretty close. Like we've always been close together. We like to spend time as much as we can whenever we see each other. So we've never had any issues. We've always just been us three, and we've always been really, really close.
That's really good. That's really good to have. And with the pregnancy, how would you say that they are when it comes in regards to your pregnancy?
So my sister, she's excited, but she's also like concerned, just because like I said, like I live so far away from everyone, so she's worried about like not having any help when all of them are like back home, like 4 hours away. And then my little brother, he's actually very excited as well, but he travels a lot for work, so he's never really in town. So
yeah, I mean, it's definitely a situation where it is super exciting, right? But also, they're your family. They are concerned about things that can happen, and also they aren't close by. So that is definitely something that is understandable. But we're going to find out different ways and coping skills to help you feel more at ease about the situation, for sure. What about your parents? Tell me a little bit about your parents and their relationships. How is your relationship with your parents as well?
So my parents, they were married for over 30 years, and then they got divorced when I was like 10 years old. And the relationship was very, very rocky through the divorce. Like they did not really like each other. So it was very hard to go through that. It was like about 5 years of going through that. And so it took a lot for them to like get to where they are now. So we're all civil now. They're like friends. We're always, when we have family gatherings, like they're able to be in the same room together and stuff like that. So that's a good change that we had. And I would say my relationship with my parents are pretty strong. I'm very close to both of them. When my dad came back after the divorce, like I was able to get close to him again, and then be like the father-daughter relationship we've always had. And then with my mom, like I would say I would consider her like one of my best friends. Like she knows everything and anything about me. So my relationships are really strong with my parents.
And so with the divorce, when it had occurred, were you closer to your mom than your dad?
Yes. Okay. So because of that reason why I was close to my mom was because my dad had decided to leave. So we didn't really see him throughout like the 5 years that the divorce was being finalized, because it was like a big divorce and it took a long time. So during that time, like my dad was like in and out of the picture. It was rare when we would see him.
Alrighty. Well, thank you for sharing that with me. And have you said that now your relationship is better with both your parents, correct?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Alrighty. What about your relationship with your peers or your coworkers? I know that you had said that your work is your outlet, but how do you see that when it comes to your relationships with your coworkers?
So I feel like I have a strong like relationship with my coworkers at work. I mean, I do work in a school, in elementary. So most of my like coworkers are teachers and counselors, like school counselors. So I feel like we all like kind of like have to be each other's like support systems, because I mean, we're constantly dealing with children from like all day, almost like 5 days a week. So I feel like we've all have like a good strong bond, and we're able to like trust each other.
Well, that's awesome to hear and awesome to have, especially during these life-changing experiences. And that it sounds like you do have a really close relationship and a good support system, that you're over here and that you don't really have family over here. But would you see them kind of like your family over here in San Antonio?
I would say yes, but also like I do have friends outside of work, and I've been living with one of my roommates, and we've been living together for, I would say like 5 years out of the 6 years I've been like here in San Antonio. And so I would consider like my friend like more family than I do like as like a best friend or something. I would consider like a sister or like a cousin. So I feel like at least I have like relationships outside of work that I know that are stronger, and able to like consider them like, oh, okay, like I have them even when I'm not at work.
Yeah, definitely. And what about your academics? How was it when you were in school? How were your grades? How was your attendance? Give me a little bit of insight about that.
School, I've always been like an overachiever. I've always like anything lower than like an A was like nerve-wracking to me. Like I could not get B's or C's. I was always someone that had to have straight A's or like pass. So I had been like that since like elementary all the way to like grad school. Like I had to like get A's. So I would say like I'm pretty smart, book smart from what I know, and I take school very seriously. Also, people say like it's like weird that they hear like that I'm like, oh my god, I miss going to school or I miss having work, like homework to do, but like I just felt like that was something I was very good at, so I really enjoyed it.
And let's say, did you ever find a time where it was difficult and you felt overwhelmed, or would you say that it was pretty much easy most of the time and you were calm about it?
The only time I felt like it was very difficult was when I had to do my internships for like undergrad and grad school. That was like very difficult because I had to manage like my personal like job, like my actual job that I had, and then also having like an internship on top of having like work to like homework to be done and like the studying. So I feel like that was a very difficult time for me in both like undergrad and grad school.
Yeah, no, I mean that's definitely a lot of stress and a lot of stuff to be handling at one time. But for the most part, would you say it was pretty much
Yes, it was like I was able to like do it. I mean, I ended up graduating, so I did it.
And when you were growing up, was there any significant events or anything major that happened?
As in like life-changing or?
Yeah, any life-changing, because I know right now what you're experiencing is definitely one of those moments, and a big change. But besides this big change, was there any other change that occurred?
Like I said, like I mentioned before, I would say my parents' divorce. Like that was very hard for us because I mean, my parents were always together, and then having to go through that at like 10 to 14 years old, like that was like a big struggle for us.
Yeah, and it was definitely something that occurred at a young age, and that is something that can be impactful. But I really appreciate you sharing that and trusting me with that information. What about your work history? Is this your first job, or have you had several jobs before?
So I was always working since the minute I turned 16. So I was like, I had a job at 16 all the way to 18, like just in sales. And then when I moved here to San Antonio, I basically had more of like internship kind of jobs until I got my actual social work job right out of undergrad.
Yeah, so what I'm already seeing is that you are hardworking, you are always focused on school and work. So I'm hearing that when you go to work, that is your outlet. When you go to school, that was your outlet.
Mm-hmm.
And now that you don't have school, you're kind of trying to find something to kind of put like your all into. So that is something that it's kind of hard because you're in the middle of a big life-changing experience and trying to find out, well, what do I do for me?
Exactly.
So we're definitely going to be working on that and finding resources to help put that all into.
Yeah.
And you never know, maybe it could even be this pregnancy that you are going to find something to put like your all into.
Mm-hmm.
And that could also be a positive. And it's just kind of perspectives. But I really appreciate you sharing all that information. We're almost done with all the questions, and then we're going to be taking short assessments that are going to kind of just help us focus on just kind of like that main target and seeing it's going to try to help limit us from all different things and just focus on that one specific situation.
Okay.
Let's see. Have you been in any kind of legal issues by any chance?
No.
No. What about financial issues?
No.
And then you said within your household you live with a roommate, correct?
Yes. For now.
And then what about with your eating habits? Have you noticed any kind of differences? Are you eating more? Are you eating less?
Right now they're all over the place. Like I said, like I'm pregnant, so
yeah.
Sometimes I like have an appetite. Sometimes I don't. Like.
Does it just depend?
It just depends on the day.
And what about your sleeping? How's that been?
Oh, that's terrible.
Why? Tell me a little bit more about that.
It's just getting in a comfortable position. Like it's just like not like working out. Like being. Sometimes I only get like 4 to 5 hours of sleep, or sometimes not even that. Like probably 3 hours of sleep because I'm constantly waking up throughout the night because I'm uncomfortable, or I have to go to the restroom, or like I'm thirsty.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just also trying to get used to all the life, like the changing about like my sleep and all that stuff.
Yeah. And during the day, are you finding that like the lack of sleep is affecting you?
Yes. Today was an example. Like I was so tired at work. Like I just wanted to come home and take a nap, but obviously I couldn't do that.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that. And what about you told me for your self-care? Do you have any hobbies? Do you do anything for you? No.
Not really.
Just work.
I just work, and I'm just like on my phone when I come home.
What would you say your personal strengths are?
Personal strengths. I don't know. I guess I would say like hardworking. I'm very independent. Like I said, I like to do things on my own. Don't like to ask for help. I don't know what else. I can't think of anything at the top of my head.
That's okay. That's okay. From what you've told me, I have been able to recognize that, yeah, you are hardworking and you're able to handle a lot of things at one time.
Yeah.
And that is something that it is very difficult to do for some people. But in your case, I would say, yeah, hardworking is definitely one of them. What about personal weaknesses? What would you say your personal weaknesses?
Definitely communication. Also, like, not being able to take any, like, I don't like to take criticism. I don't take criticism lightly. Like, that's just something, like, I can't, like, like, having other people's opinions, like, I struggle with that, too. Like, I like to do, like I said, I like to do things on my own. And then when people try to, like, be like, okay, well, can you do this? And I just, like, I'm like, no, like, this is how I feel, like, this is what I'm going to do. So that's something, like, I also, like I was saying, like, I want to work on being able to communicate and find, like, those balances.
Yeah, definitely. So for your goals for counseling, what would you say your goals are to coming in?
So I want to learn, like, my main goal is find coping skills with my feelings and emotions, like, with this whole, like, life-changing experience. And I also want to, like, understand, like, how to communicate those feelings to, like, you or, like, in general, like, with anyone. Like, if I need help, like, I want to learn to, like, be able to, like, talk and ask for the help.
With the relationships that you have, like friendships,
yes,
different relationships.
And, like, with, like, coming with, like, a baby soon, like, in a couple months, like, I want to be able to learn how to speak up and ask for help, because now it's, like, I have to think not only for myself, but for my child.
Yeah, definitely. Is there anything else that you would like to discuss or share?
No, I think we pretty much covered a lot.
Perfect. So now we're going to be moving on to another assessment. So this assessment is the Columbia Suicide Assessment. So this is just kind of to see if there's any suicidal ideation. Just also to remember about the limitations that I have. If there are signs of suicidal ideation, that is something that will have to be reported, just because we want to ensure that you do have the resources that you need and that help and that assistance, because your health is the priority to us, and that's what we're here for. So I'm just gonna ask you some quick yes or no questions, and if there's anything else that you would like to share, please feel free to do so. If you also do not feel comfortable with some of the questions, you are allowed to decline those questions as well.
Okay.
Have you ever wished to be dead?
No.
Is there any suicidal thoughts that you've had that are active?
No.
Have you ever had intent to act with a plan with suicide?
No.
So has there ever been suicidal ideation without an act?
No.
Is there active suicidal ideation with a specific plan and you intended to go through with that plan?
No.
Let's see. With your attempt, have you ever attempted to have any self-harm, injuries?
No.
Have you ever noticed any different types of behavior with suicide? Have you ever thought about it?
No.
Never. Has there been a time when you started to do something to make yourself not alive anymore?
No.
Has there, have you, let's see. Alrighty, well, we finished with this assessment.
Okay.
So we're gonna move on to the next one. The next one is super quick. It's only 7 questions. It is called the GAD-7, so 7 questions. And this test is going to just give me some insight if there is any anxiety disorders present.
Okay.
The first question is if you're feeling nervous, anxious, or on edge, and this can be from the last 2 weeks till today. So just if you could try thinking back 2 weeks, or if anything recently has occurred that has made you feel these type of ways. And the answers are going to be from 0 to 3, 0 being not at all, and then to 3 feeling it almost every day.
Okay.
So for the first question, have you ever felt nervous, anxious, or on edge?
Yes. I will.
Is it several days?
I would say
days?
like not every day. It's just like sometimes.
Sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Not being able to stop or control worrying.
Every day.
Every day. Worrying too much about different things.
Sometimes.
Sometimes. So would you say more often, or just a couple, like
Just a
here and
couple.
there? Just a couple.
Here and there.
All right. Trouble relaxing.
No.
No.
I don't think so.
Being so restless that it's hard to sit still.
Sometimes.
Sometimes. Being easily annoyed or irritable.
No.
Feeling afraid as if something awful might happen.
Sometimes.
Okay, so I'm noticing, so I added up your scores and it came out to a 7. So there is some anxiety present. So now that I gave this assessment, we're able to recognize that there is identification of anxiety being present. And with some of the assessments that I'm going to give you to take home and fill out and bring back, we're going to be able to just get more of an idea of what to focus on for our next session, and we're definitely going to be focusing on how we can help you with these resources.
Okay, sounds good.
The next assessment that we're going to take is a patient health questionnaire. It's called the PHQ-9, so only 9 questions. It's kind of clever, right? So this is only going to just give me some insight about just your well-being and your health. So very easy. Like the other assessment, it's just from 0 to 3 scale. 0 being not at all, and 3 being feeling it almost every day.
Okay.
The first question is little interest or pleasure in doing things. No. Feeling down, depressed, or hopeless.
No.
Trouble falling asleep or staying asleep or sleeping too much.
Most of the time.
Most of the time, would you say more than several days or every day?
More than several days.
Several days. And you would say it's the not being able to fall asleep, correct?
Yes.
Feeling tired or having little energy?
Just sometimes.
Sometimes. A poor appetite or overeating?
I don't think I have either.
You
I don't know. I just eat normal.
You just normal.
Yeah.
Feeling bad about yourself or that you're a failure or have let yourself or family down?
Never.
Trouble concentrating on things such as reading the newspaper or watching television.
No.
Moving or speaking slowly, so slowly that other people have noticed, or the opposite, being so fidgety or restless that you have been moving around a lot more than usual.
No.
Thoughts that you would be better off dead or hurting yourself.
No.
Alrighty. So with this questionnaire, there is minor depression being present, and so the thing is that sometimes when anxiety and depression, they are very similar. They align a lot with each other, and so that is pretty normal to see both at the same time. But your scoring is pretty minor, and like I said with the other assessment, like once we finish up with the assessments that you take home, we're going to be able to recognize that main focus, and once that main focus is recognized, we are definitely going to be coming up with a plan on how to execute it and help you and assist you during this time. The next exam that I'm going to do, it is a cognitive exam, and so I'm going to give you a sheet of paper. On this sheet of paper, let me get you a pen. I'll give you a pretty pink one. It's glittering. So on this paper, we're gonna do something in just a sec, but before we do that, don't write anything down. I'm gonna give you 3 words. So we're gonna be testing your cognitive skills, and cognitive is just being able to recall. And so I'm gonna give you 3 different words. So it's gonna be banana, sunrise, and chair. So if you could repeat that for me: banana, sunrise, chair.
Banana, sunrise, chair.
Awesome. Okay. So now that I gave you those 3 words, we're gonna move on to the next step. So the next step, I'm gonna need you to draw a circle just like this.
Okay.
All right, perfect. So now that you drew the circle, oh my gosh, the circle, I'm going to ask you to label it like a clock, so 1 through 12.
Okay. Okay.
Awesome. Okay, so now that you have your clock set, if you could go ahead and set the clock to me 10 past 11.
10 past 11.
Let me see if you can show it to me. Awesome. Okay. So now that we finished with our clock, I'm going to ask you to repeat those 3 words that we had talked about during the beginning of this assessment. So there's 3 words. If you could repeat them after me whenever you're ready.
Banana, sunrise, chair.
Awesome. Okay. So you scored 100. So awesome job. So now that we finished with that assessment, is there anything else that you would like to share or want to discuss before we're almost done with this session?
No, I think we pretty much covered a lot of like the basics right for now.
Okay, perfect. If there's anything else that you want to share with me between now and the next session, we're going to meet Friday, July 5th. I am going to be giving you 2 different assessments to take home with you. One is called a OQ45, which is just kind of like a physical, and just kind of seeing it from your perspective on where you feel that you fall under these categories.
Okay.
So it's just basic questions, and you're just going to answer from a number 4 to a number 0, from never to always. That is one of the assessments I'm going to be giving you to take home. Another assessment that I'm going to be giving you is a DSM-5, which is just a personality inventory. So how you view yourself, and that assessment is going to be from a 0 to 3 scale, to very false to very true.
Okay.
These assessments, I already have them printed out for you, so you're just going to take them home, fill them out whenever you have time. I know that you do have a lot going on with work as well as in your personal life, so whenever you have time, just fill them out. And then if you could just bring them back during the next session, which is Friday, July 5th, that would be awesome. If you could bring it just a little bit before then, so that I could just evaluate it and we could have a plan going into the next session.
Okay, sounds good.
But I really appreciate you taking the time, and I am very proud that you make that step coming in and seeking counseling. And we're definitely going to be providing you with resources that are beneficial for you, and just always applaud yourself for coming in and taking in that step.
Thank you.
Yes. So, if you need anything else, do you need anything else?
No,
You're good.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you for coming in today. I
No,
really
thank
appreciate
you.
it.